Hey you guys, welcome to my channel. I'll sit that right there. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to another episode of this Piscean Reports. How are you doing this evening? I'm sorry. For those of you new to my channel, welcome aboard. For those of you who are returning, as always, welcome back. Oh, all right. So I was going to chit chat with you guys yesterday, but I was in a bit of a mood because I ordered some things from Walmart and someone in the building stole my items. So I was already there. I was listening to one of my favorite people in the morning, and they said some things that kind of were a little. So there was that, and then I ordered some things from Walmart, and of course they got stolen. Of course. And on top of everything else, I had $20 that was in my pocket. And as I got off the elevator, I took my hand out of my pocket, and clearly the $20 fell down. And the person who was on the elevator with me took the money. So I was not in a good mood. So I didn't want to talk yesterday. I was like, you better not, because it won't go good. But I decided I was going to just make a video today. My goodness, you guys. So I'm not sure how to start with this video or necessarily where I want to begin. I was thinking, as always, about religion and spirituality and things like that, and of course, and I was feeling feeling like I'm in a fight, not even fight mode, but I just feel like I need to stand up and speak up, even though I don't want to. I keep being told, say what's on your mind, say what's on your mind. And clearly the things I say to you guys are not coming out as I am intending them. I feel that a lot of people are taking the things that I say as me being negative or me being mean or some kind of like in that energy. And what's crazy is none of the things I'm telling you guys are coming from a place of meanness. It's more of a place of just a matter of fact, And I feel that the matter of factness of my words, are being taken in the wrong text and whatever. But, and I'm also thinking, I was sitting in the laundry room and I started thinking about the gentleman. First I started thinking about how, and I know this is as usual, I know it's not going to be taken in the spirit that it's being given. It will be, most people will say I'm being mean or I'm being, nasty or whatever. And I don't understand why everybody is thinking I'm being mean. I really don't get it, because I don't have to say anything. I don't have to say nothing about any of this, but I just keep getting, say what's on your mind and speak your truth and, live out loud and the whole nine. And all of my guides and my angels are saying, go girl, go, say it, be it, do it, speak it, don't be shy. But at the same time, when I go with the energy that I'm feeling, it's taken in a very negative way, and it's not intended to be negative. It's so much so that I see everybody trying to find some way to legitimize what I'm saying. Like, oh, that's got to be coming from a place of anger, and this happened to her. This is this. It's like everybody's playing armchair psychiatrist. But I promise you, what I'm telling you guys is not coming from a place of anger or meanness or mean-spiritedness. It's just, this is the situation. It's like I want to run up to somebody and just say, listen, and just shake it like, listen, just a second, like just listen, really listen, So Um, but like I said, I was not basement, I was in the laundry room, and I was thinking about that gentleman who over the summer who told you guys his what's his name, I would butcher. He's an African gentleman who told everybody that there was going to be an end of days on a certain day, right? I was thinking about him, Joshua Mhlakela, however you say that, pronounce that last name. I'm not even going to try. I'm so sure I'll butcher it. But I was thinking about this gentleman, and I was asking myself, I said, man, did this guy even apologize? Because, a lot of people listened to him, and they and sold everything, and had that been me, and I told you guys, listen, on this day there's going to be the end of days, and then everybody sold off everything and gave away everything because they were so sure, and only to not have that happen. And then he said, well, that was the wrong day. We need to think, biblically that it's going to be this day. And then of course that day came and went. And I was thinking about that. I thought, as I sat there, I thought to myself how many times I've told you guys over and over and over again how year after year after year after year, as long as I can remember, I have been hearing about the end of days. And I thought to myself, a whole year went by. I heard we're in the end of days, we're in the last days, these are the last days. An entire year went by. You see what I'm saying? So I'm being spiritual and knowing the things I know and listening to all of the things that my guides and my angels and everything has been encouraging me to say and to speak up and talk, say what's on your mind. And I am feeling that maybe the reason everybody is a little put off or is taking like that step back. And I don't know if I should listen. I don't know if I should believe that based off of what this gentleman did. Because I asked myself, I said, did he even apologize? Because had that been me, and I told you guys that on February the 20th, the day is, it's going to be the last day on earth. And you guys did all of that and you sold everything and got rid of everything and it didn't happen. I would be apologizing out the ass. Like I would, but I asked AI, I said, did this person even apologize? And they said, no, he didn't. And I think that it is for that reason that people are a little apprehensive to now hear what I have to say. But what's interesting is I'm not telling you guys you're going to die. I'm not telling you to sell off your stuff. I'm not telling you to do anything like that. I am merely letting you know that you matter, that you came here to be of purpose, that I thought about that, like literally I can't say and I won't say that there is just there's this one solid reason and that's it, because in reality, in truth, the universe, our Father, there thousands, probably literally thousands of reasons why each of us have incarnated into this lifetime. I was offering up a few very interesting thoughts and suggestions. We did come here to bear witness to things. We did come here to be a purpose. We absolutely have missions. You're going to do this at this point, and then you're going to do that at that point, and then these two people are going to come together and they'll do this, and then you guys will go off and you'll do that, and because you guys did this, the ones after you are going to do that. And it's I feel like I think that maybe you guys, I don't know. I don't know. And so needless to say, everything I have been telling you guys has not been positively met or well met, because it's been taken, everybody is taking what I'm saying as being mean-spirited. And I'm not being mean-spirited. If these things happened, they happened. That's not being mean-spirited. That's being matter of fact. This happened. That happened. These people did this. They did that. It's not being mean to point out truth. It's not being mean to speak truth, you know? And as I was thinking about that, I thought about I said, you know what? This is the emperor's new clothes all over again. And for those of you who are not aware of the tale of the emperor's new clothes, there was this king, and he wanted to be the best dressed in all the land, the best dressed, the best looking. He wanted to have the finest of the finest, right? And so they in the story they said that the king was vain. He wanted to have the best of the best in the whole nine. Anyway, so he comes across these two men. These men are very aware of the king's need to be the best looking and the best dressed in the whole nine, and they played up on that. They told him that we're going to give you some. We've got some garments that are so fine and so special that only people with the purest eyes will be able to see it. Okay. And if anybody says you're naked, they don't see the garment. They can't see this fine, material, right? And the king bought it, right? So he says, okay, that sounds great. Make me this thing. And so they go off, and then they go amongst themselves for a minute. And then the king said, eventually the king goes, is it ready? And they go, yes, it is. And they go, here you go. And the king is standing there in his underwear, right? And his robe. He's in his clothes, but eventually they say, here it is. And it's clearly it's nothing. So they say, take that off. And he takes everything off except for, I guess, his underwear and, his cape and the crown. And he walks around, and of course the two gentlemen say, oh my God, that's the finest looking fabric we've ever seen. You look sensational. And the king buys it. He buys it. Right. And so he goes out amongst the people, and the people have heard that the king is supposed to be wearing this garment that's so fine and so perfect that only those with the purest and the best eyes will be able to see it. And because nobody wants to be the one who goes and says, I don't see anything, because, you don't want to be that guy. Right. So you go, oh, that looks great. And they said, that looks great, king. And it's fantastic. And it's amazing. And he's walking around, and not one person was strong enough to stand up and say anything except for this child. And the child said, you're naked. And the child starts laughing and says, why are you walking around with no clothes on, And because that child spoke up, eventually people started to kind of whisper amongst themselves, and then they kind of started laughing, right? And so and I said, this is the emperor's new clothes. And so I asked, what is the moral? Because I know it, but I want to give it to you guys. And I gave it to, I'm going to give it to you the way AI gave it to me, because I knew, but I want to give it to you in a, perfect, wording. And so it says, the emperor's new clothes teaches the importance of having the courage to speak truth, even when it's unpopular or goes against the crowd. And that is how I felt. I said, this is the emperor's new clothes. I have been given this thing. I have seen these things, and I have said it, and it benefits me in no way, in no way. But I had been told to speak your truth and to say the things that need to be said. Don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to say it. And I feel like I'm the child who said, you're not wearing no clothes, And like they said, it teaches, like I said, the courage of having the courage to speak the truth, even when it's unpopular or goes against the crowd. That's what I'm doing. Nobody wants to hear that. Certainly nobody who's religious wants to hear that we've been believing this, and it's been this, and it's always been this. And I don't want to be the one to stand up and say, but what if? What if she's right? What if it really has been us all this time? What if we've been sitting up here waiting for things to come to an end, and it's not gonna? It's just not gonna. Year after year after year after year. I've been hearing about the end of days. I'm going to be 62 next month. And we're still here. We're here. Last year, people thought this is it. This is the big moment. And no, no. I knew. I knew that it wasn't. And they said, well, it's going to be this day. And I didn't even bat an eyelash because I knew. I knew because I had read and I had, and based, not even based off of that, but before I even found Mr. Summers' book, I kept saying, is it just me? Am I the only one who's seeing this? Because I kept seeing it. I said, there's something, something is happening, and and the thing of it is there's a lot of other people who are spiritual. There's a lot of other people who have had awakenings. I told you guys, my friend has a friend who absolutely, he said the exact same thing that you're saying. And I don't know his friend. I didn't know Mr. Summers. I didn't know what was happening. All I kept saying was something's happening, you guys, something is happening. And there's this, I'm being shown things and the whole nine and everything led up to this moment. And the universe says, okay, you got a platform, you got the stage is yours. Say what needs to be said. And I said what I said. And it is not met with anyone. I feel like the universe, not even the universe, but it's like everybody's afraid to say, but what if? But what if? Because this, I want to give you guys the rest of this message. It said it highlights that honesty, integrity, and personal observation are far more valuable than fear-driven conformity. And I said, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. I could sit up here and I was listening to the pastor yesterday, and he was saying that that you could be the bigger person and apologize. And all day I'm thinking, what am I apologizing for? What would I apologize for? I have seen what I have seen. I have experienced what I have experienced. There's a man who the Most High had this man write this book, and only to find out that it's not just me. I kept saying, is it just me? Is it just me? Am I the only one seeing this? And then I find out, no, you're not. And he takes it to an even greater level of depth of understanding that I as I read it, I go, he's exactly right. He's exactly right. That is it, And I think that it is for me, even though and why would I? Why would I? I keep coming back to that. What are you apologizing for? For telling everybody that they matter, for telling you guys that you have value, that you have purpose, that you came here for a reason. In the same way those people before you have come in, generation after generation after generation have come in and built amazing things and created amazing things, the plane and the train and the automobile and the internet and and I talked about how the Most High sent you guys. He sent Lincoln and he sent MLK and he sent many people before then. Even before then, started Moses and work your way through. What would I apologize for? That there's no reason to apologize. To tell you that you guys matter, that maybe, just maybe, it's you. It's always been you. I say to myself, what would have happened? I was doing dishes yesterday. And I thought to myself, what would have happened if the greatest generation had, when Hitler was doing his thing and he's taking over and he's invading all these countries? What if everybody just thought like most people do today? Because everybody's afraid to stand up and say, what if? What if? What if everybody just sat back just like back in the day and said, well, just like dude said in the book, if everybody said, well, I can't worry about that and there's nothing I can do about that and I'm not going to think about that. I'm going to let God handle that. What if? What would have happened? I don't even want to try to wrap my head around that and imagine the craziness. But these people, something in them rose up to do the right thing. Something rose up in them to say, this is it. We need to do this. We've got to do this. There's no thinking about it. It wasn't even any thinking about it. People ran in droves to sign up and worldwide to defeat this evil. And I think about things like that. It's like, how does everybody not see that you matter? It's blowing my mind. And to tell me that that I'm bitter and I'm angry. I'm not angry about anything. I have nothing to lose in this. Nothing at all. I could just tell you guys what I knew, and I would love to go have a seat. But then I keep hearing things say what's on your mind, speak your truth, keep talking, keep going. You know, and even though everybody's coming against you, keep going. You know, they think about the people, greater people than you, stood up and they spoke up. I may not say it in the best way. You know, what can I say? This was never on my radar. This was never on my agenda. This in life of my list of things to do. Never ever did I ever think, you know what? When my kids get grown, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to speak truth and I'm going to say none of that. None of it. Matter of fact, my purpose found me, which is like they said, you won't know it. You'll find it. It will find you. As just living life, just being present and having, you know, all those things happen, have all those, you know, have people steal and then I had to tell everybody that, you know, this is happening, that these people did this to me, only to have all those people say, don't listen. Shh, don't listen to her. Look over this way. She's lying. We didn't take anything. We didn't do anything. You know what I'm saying? And I was in tears and begging people to hear me, right? And then, what was I going to say? Oh, I lost my train of thought. Like to have that happen. And then to have to then tell people, listen, you know, every room I go in, somebody upstairs is quite literally following me. Like I hear them. I go in the closet. I hear them go in the closet. I go in the bathroom. I hear them go to the bathroom. I remember telling everybody that in the beginning, and everybody said she's delusional. She's making it up. There's something wrong with her. You know, that's not normal thinking until you found out that they absolutely are doing that. I have nothing to lose here. From day one, all I did was speak truth. And I don't feel that I need to apologize for anything. I'm sorry if you guys don't like the way it's being said, but it's still, I'm being told to say it. I do not believe that we are ever going to be in the end of days. Never. And then I'm not attacking Christianity. This isn't an attack. I think people consider it an attack. This is my opinion. This is not an attack. There's a difference between having an opinion and saying, you guys are wrong and da-da-da. I never said that. I just said it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not, you know. But like they said, you know, I think it's more important for people to keep quiet and give in. Like they said, that, you know, it highlights that honesty, integrity, and personal observation are far more valuable than fear-driven conformity. People are afraid to stand up. Nobody wants to stand up and say she might have a point. She may be right. What if it's like that? What if we do have purpose and value? What if we need to let go of the group think? Because that was the other thing that came up. It said key takeaways from the Emperor's New Clothes. It says key takeaway: courage over conformity. And I cannot tell you how many cards I've gotten that said that you're a nonconformist. This is who you are. It's not being mean to stand up and say, this is what I think. This is what I believe. This is not only me. There are other people who are having it. But because they see how I'm being attacked, they are afraid to stand up and say, you know what, I agree. I saw that too. I was getting that too. I had an awakening. I have been seeing angel numbers. I have been seeing, the feathers and things like that. And I did see a loved one. I'm just Anyway, key takeaways: courage over conformity. This story warns against the dangers of group think. That is what's happening right now. Nobody, shut up. We don't want to hear that. Don't tell us about that. We don't want to hear about the spirituality. We don't want to hear that everything, essentially, because it challenges your beliefs. And I'm not challenging your beliefs. You are taking it as a challenge. You are taking it as an attack. And it absolutely is not an attack. It's not an attack. But, like they said, it warns against the dangers of groupthink because it's, religion is the most popular thing that no one is to challenge it. No one, and it has nothing to do with, it could be Christianity, it could be Hinduism, it could be any of them. It could be any of them. I'm using Christianity only because that is what I knew. That was what I came out of. And I read that you shouldn't dabble in a religion. You either need to go all in. So I at this point, I'm spiritual, and I can't. You don't dabble in Hinduism. You don't dabble in Buddhism. You don't dabble in any religion. I read that you cannot get the full scope of it by dabbling. Okay, Christianity just happens to be what I know. And everything that I've seen is my spirituality is saying you matter. And your job is to try to say that. Let people know that, if you could just take a step back for just a second. Nobody, I've said it a million times, nobody said forget what you learned. Because every now and then I will reference something that I know, but at the same time, I have learned to put that on the shelf for a minute and just let the universe show you. Give me the opportunity. We are giving you the opportunity not only to read about us, we're giving you the opportunity to see us in action, to watch us work in your life. And I was like, this is so exciting. It's amazing. And I want to share that with you guys. This is an opportunity if you would just take a step back and let go of the group think. So where individuals ignore their own senses and logic to conform to a false belief held by the majority. Christianity just happens to be the majority. Okay? Group think on a grand scale. And so anything I say is going to be attacked because we want to keep that number one. We want to keep that first and forefront in everybody's mind. Never mind what she's saying. Look at us over here. It's that all over again. Don't pay any attention to her over there. Look at us over here. She's crazy. She's lying. She's being mean. She's being a jerk. She's being, and none of that is true. I'm just inviting you guys to just take a step back and kind of consider that maybe, just maybe, you're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. The only way the end of days can even happen is if you just completely take your hands off the wheel, like he said, and you just sit there and say, well, I'm not going to think about that, and I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to let God handle it. And the whole time God is trying to tell you, I sent you. I sent you, just like I sent generations before you to do the right thing. In the civil rights movement, I sent those people to do the right thing, to help to do the right thing. In the World War II, I sent them to do the right thing, and I mean, just situations behind, go further back and whatever. situation. Okay. And the Most High said, I sent you guys. You're the answer. Well, here's my question again, and I will ask you this again. If the Most High was going to end the world, what would be the point of cleaning the air? What would be the point? If the Most High is going to put an end to the world, what would be the point of cleaning the water? What would be the point? He would just take his hands off the wheel. Wouldn't you think he'd just say, you know what? Let them go ahead and do each other in. Just let them do each other in. Let it be. But he loves us so much. I'm going to send these amazing minds in. And they're going to find ways to clean out the air so that you guys can look up and admire my beautiful starry night sky and admire my beautiful moon and admire the sun and the beautiful blueness of the sky in the daytime. I'm going to enable you guys when you watch Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, and they pan out over your city, and you see how beautiful and clear the night is. And you go, wow, boy, that city's got a beautiful cityscape. That's amazing. What would be the point? What would be the point of cleaning the air if he's gonna end the world? What would be the point of cleaning the water? What would be the point of having people plant more trees to protect our natural resources? What would be the point of sending people in to protect our wild animals, our wildlife? What would be the point? If the world is going to come to an end, what's the point? And nobody wants to answer that. Because like I said, group think says this is what we've been told and this is what we believe and it's always been this way and we're going to keep going. And we know throughout history that it's always been this way. Don't make it right. You know, in the time of Moses, in the time of slavery, well, it's always been this way. It didn't make it right. It didn't make it right. And so the Most High sent Moses. When people were making slaves out of the Africans here, it's always been this way. Like these are our property. That don't make it right. Because you're doing it, don't make it right. So I don't know what to tell y'all. I really don't. I don't know what to tell you. Groupthink is why we are in the situation we are. Nobody wants to take a step back and say, well, you know what there is something to that. Why would he? What would be the point of cleaning the air if he's gonna if we're all gonna die? What's the point? We might as well just take our hand off the wheel and say, you know what, we are gonna die. So whatever. Let's just go ahead and pollute the air. It's all about money at the end of the day and whatever. What would be the point of cleaning the water? We're going to die anyway. So let's just keep chucking all this stuff in there. To hell with those fish and the wildlife that are in there. We're going to die anyway. So let's go ahead and kill off all these lions and tigers and bears. What would be the point? We're going to die anyway. So what the hell? Let's go for it. It doesn't make any sense. That's because it's... The Most High sent you. The Most High sent you here to be the difference maker. I do not think we are going to die. Last year went by. We didn't die the year before that. And the other 40, 50 years plus before that. The world didn't come to an end. Another key takeaway from the Emperor's New Clothes: leadership integrity. It highlights the necessity for leaders to create environments where honest communication is welcome rather than surrounding themselves with yes men. Rather than having these men in power sit up here and tell you, like that actor back in the 80s who told everybody that the Russians were the empire of evil. Fast forward a few decades later, and they're not evil at all. They're great people. And that's because they never were. They never were evil. It's those Cubans. This is what I'm saying. That group mindset, that us versus them, divisive tribal mentality. The Cubans, they're the problem. They're the problems over there. No, it's the Mexicans. They're the problem. They're the problem. No, it's those Somalians. They're the problem. They're the problems. No, it's it's the Indians. They're the problems. It's the Chinese. I remember back in the day. I cannot think of the name of that movie. I meant to write it down, but it starred Michael Keaton and George Wendt, and it basically was about when the Asian people were coming over and they were selling and building and manufacturing Japanese cars, and for a minute, and we all know for a minute, even everybody was like, we hate the Chinese and they're taking our business, they're taking over our country, and then and the whole nine. And real is real. I know you guys are gonna say, oh, she's being mean and she's this. Real is real. It's ridiculous. We just keep decade after decade after decade. We keep continuing with that tribal mindset, the divisiveness that book talked about. It's them. No, it's them. No, it's them. No, it's them. No, it's them. We need to stop. And I'm not wrong for sitting up here suggesting that since we are now a global society, whether you want to admit it or not, we are, to just take it to that next level, to think bigger, to take a step back, to let go of the us versus them, because clearly it's gotten us nowhere. And matter of fact, it only adds fuel to the fire to try to start a war. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Oh, how many minutes? I got 36. I'm going to go ahead and stop. But is that it? I said the leadership that surrounding themselves with yes men. Oh, yes, you're right. The Russians are the empire of evil. Oh, no, this fast forward to this administration. Oh, the Russians are the greatest thing ever. Boy, they're the best, And nobody wants to say this is fucking ridiculous. I'm sorry. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Why do we continue with this mindset? Why do we not just all see that we are all just people wanting to live our best lives? And you want to say that it's impossible to come together and form some kind of world group. Like I said, right now we are at the very beginning. We're at the very beginning. At this point, the most we can at least start to do is just start having these conversations. Let's start having these conversations. But nobody wants to do that. Group thinking won't allow such a thing. Conformity will never allow such a thing. We can never think that these people over here are nice, or that those people over there, that these people aren't evil, or that these people we can't not think that. And it's ridiculous. It is 1000% ridiculous. We are all just human beings just trying to live our best lives at the end of the day. And I am not trying to, I apologize. That would be the only thing I would apologize for, is I would say, I'm sorry that I don't say it like you guys want it to be said. Like I said, this was never on my radar. If somebody had told me that one day I'd be doing this, I'd go, nope, not this one. No. I'm too shy. You got the wrong one. But day after day after day, I keep getting, say what's on your mind, speak up, speak truth, say it. And so, I'm sorry if it don't come out like you want it to come out, but real is real. Maybe, just maybe, there's another way to be. If a group of men can come together on this continent and go into a room and say, this is the list of rules we want, and this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to run this. And they all say, okay, that sounds good. This will be the law of the land, and sign it. and then that's it. Then we absolutely can get together. Everybody, every leader from every continent get together into a room and say, okay, what do we want? How do we want this to go? And everybody says their piece. And okay, well, how about we do this? Okay, we could do that. Just like they did it there, we could do it on a grander scale, but nobody wants to. Groupthink will never allow that. Conformity will never allow such a thing. We can't wrap our heads around having, changing our belief system. It's too foreign. We won't. I don't even want to hear about it. Like, stop talking about that. Take your, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Instead of saying, wow, we really could. We could. We just don't want to. There's the difference. You absolutely can. You just don't want to. Because it's always been this way. It's always been this way. It's crazy. The last thing I did right was, I just talked about when I was mentioning earlier that, I gave you guys just a few examples of some of the reasons why we incarnated into this lifetime. And I did write down, some people come to experience both sides of a situation, and I said karma being, and I thought about karma, like if you incarnated, a good example is if you incarnated into this lifetime as I thought master and servant situation. Somebody has to be the master, somebody's got to be the servant. In this lifetime, you're the master, and and somebody incarnated in this lifetime as a servant. And depending on how you were in your lifetime, if you were the master, if you were an abusive person, if you was the abusive master, now you're going to incarnate into the lifetime to balance things out on some level on the other side. Consider that. If you came in and you were abusive, and in the next lifetime, now you're going to see what it's like to be the abused. Somebody's going to abuse you, and you're going to get to experience what it felt like. Karma. In which case I would be very mindful. It's like I think about that. Somebody maybe in the last lifetime you incarnated, you were rich. And so in this lifetime, maybe you were not the nicest person when you were rich. You took advantage of people. You abused your power. Being rich, you abused your power. And now in the next lifetime, you're going to be the one who is poor. And you're going to be on the receiving end of whatever you dished out in the previous lifetime. There's 1,000 reasons. I couldn't even try. I wouldn't try to sit up here and tell you guys that I know every single reason, because there's, this is the universe. This is our Father. No one knows all. I can certainly offer up some reasons and some situations that absolutely could be, but at the end of the day, only He knows everything. So there's that. You never know. Anyway, I guess I'm just going to leave it there. I just wanted you guys to just consider that, man, courage over conformity. The importance of having the courage to speak the truth, even when it's unpopular or goes against you. I got the whole world against me, but I'm still going to speak. If nobody, and I know people are watching because I heard them setting up as I sat up right here. They were setting up upstairs. So I know you guys are either going to watch it through whatever illegal situation they got going on, or you'll just do like I do. You'll go to YouTube and you'll just watch the video, but you won't tap on it. So I know I'm being watched, because clearly all I got to do is just listen And oh, you're this and this and that and the third, and you're being mean, and people are saying you're being a jerk, and I'm like, okay, well, and to hear the pastor say, maybe you should consider apologizing, and I'm thinking, what am I apologizing for? For telling you guys that you matter, for telling you that the Most High is, and that I have seen his hand in my life, to tell you that maybe you could just kind of like, let's just close the book for a second and just kind of consider, would you rather you could read about him, or you could just experience him? Wouldn't you rather just experience the Father? Wouldn't you rather experience your spirit team? Wouldn't you rather experience your guides? And wouldn't you just, don't you even want to know if there's more out there than just what you've been told? The same people that are writing these books and submit it for your approval, these are the same people who told you that there's a Santa Claus. These are the same people who told you it's an Easter bunny. You can wrap your head around that. These are the same. Are you not seeing what I'm saying here? Like, these are the same people who have no problem giving you these crazy things. Okay, so armed with that knowledge, are you really you're really all in on whatever text they gave you? These are the same people who told you that there's an Easter bunny and Santa Claus. Okay, and there's a great pumpkin. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying, think about that. You might want to think about that. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go. I will see you guys, because we've passed, like, share, subscribe. We're over that. Okay, now I'm just to the point where I'm just like, okay, that's the video. See you next week. Or see you when I see you. I guess it just highly depends on what the Father wants me to say. But like I said, you guys, real quick, just what would be the point? What's the point of cleaning the air? What's the point of cleaning the water? What's the point of planting new trees? What's the point? If you guys go through so much trouble every day to keep life going and to make life better, what's the point? And you feel that the world is going to come to an end. What's the point? Wouldn't you just say, you know what? F it, and just take your hands off. Let people run crazy through the streets, Let the war happen. Let the carnage ensue. Let the devil have his way. I'm taking my hands off. God's going to handle it. God said, I sent you. I sent you. So we need you to get off your tuchus and stop thinking about me. I sent you. So get busy. Yes, sir. Yes, Father. And do whatever and live life, and let me be of service, Father, however you want me to, whatever, let thy will be done. And then let it happen. I'm gonna go. I will see you guys next time on the next video. Y'all have a good night. Bye.